Hello and welcome to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Brent Ellis at the Ellis team at Keller Williams down here in sunny Southwest Florida. Today I want to talk to you about market turmoil, what it means for the real estate market, and how you might want to act as a buyer and seller. So let's get right into it. Right now, the S&P 500, I just pulled a screenshot, is down about 24% in the last 6 months. So the markets are really taking these changes hard. The market thinks that we are headed for a recession. Mortgage rates, now these rates are about a week old. They've shot up to about 5.78%, down from just over 2%, 2.5, 2.75 last year. So interest rates have really shot up. The truth is, interest rates are well into the sixes now. A lot of prime buyers are at about 6.5, 6 and 5/8 sort of thing. So we might see that number creep down just a little bit as money comes out of the stock market and into the bonds, but that's going to be a temporary thing heading into July. Purchasing power. Keep in mind, for every 1% rise in rates, it takes away 11% purchasing power for the buyer. So rates have risen about 4% in the last year. That's about 44% purchasing power. That could affect sellers, and it's already having an effect on sellers. So NAR Chief Economist Lawrence Yun just came out after the Fed did their historic, since the 90s, 0.75% interest rate hike, and said many more are coming. And he said basically that's really going to impact buyers. And it's, again, what we've been saying, it's adding to the cost. And he agrees with us that oil is going to dictate how this thing goes. The Fed can raise rates all they want, and they're going to raise several more times from what they've said. But until we get oil under control, it may take a while. And the disturbing thing about the Fed announcement this past week is that they admitted inflation is going to be over 5% by the end of this year, and this may be a 2-year project going into 2024. So we may have high interest rates to combat inflation through the end of 2023, possibly into 2024. And some people believe, like the stock market is betting, that they weren't harsh enough on interest rates, that they should have done this sooner, and they should have gone more than 0.75 to get ahead of this thing. So we're looking at least half to 3/4, maybe a percent again in July, and then who knows what in September. Right now, there's two types of sellers. There's the seller that's fearful of the market. They're motivated. They want to cash out now before more listings enter the market. Our listings have more than doubled since February. So that's giving more choices to the buyers. The buyers are being squeezed, and some sellers are motivated. They want out. They're going to take their cash out. Then we've got these other sellers that still think it's March 2022. They're not as motivated. They want what prices they could get from 3 months ago, and some of them even want to add $30,000, $50,000 on top of that because they think the market's still going up. Our market is not going up. So let's get into that a little bit. Sales prices are a lagging indicator. So the last official numbers we have were from April. Most of those sales occurred in February and March. And you can see the average started leveling out. The median is still going up. But when we start posting May, June, July numbers, I think you're going to see that change. And we're seeing less offers on properties, taking longer to sell, and many price reductions in our market. So that's kind of where the market's going. The question is, if you're a seller, where do you want to be? Do you want to be seller number 1 or seller number 2? Homes closed are heading down. So last year was a phenomenal year. And even if we end up number 2 compared to last year, we're still doing pretty good. But there's headwinds out there, and these sales we're watching the pendings go down. So we may not stay at number 2. We may slip back to 2019 levels or less. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. That would be somewhere around the yellow line here. And then single family inventory. For the last 7 weeks or so, 8 weeks, it's grown 17 weeks in a row, and it's above the trend line for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And we're watching that grow every week. So as a seller, you've got more competition heading into the market. Condo inventory, same thing. Not quite as bad. I'll go back to the single family inventory and then head to the condo inventory. We have gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row above the trend line, but already that was a steeper trend line. So That's pretty much what we're looking at. If you're a seller or want to be a seller, probably sooner is better than later, because already listing inventory has already doubled. We've got a lot of competition out there and much more coming. Our current market index is above 1 now. Last time I checked it, it was probably 1.03 or so. It was at 0.58. So that number accurately predicts where the market's going, and that's what we're seeing. So you have to ask yourself, am I okay in my home 2 to 3 to 4 years? Or do I want to get out now? Is my home not working for me and take out at these prices? The prices today may not be what they were back in March. But that's back in March. That's history. That's gone. We didn't get that market. Just like in the stock market. If you didn't sell back in January, February, March, you're not getting those prices. So, but for the very best homes, I call them the gems. That means they're either updated, they're in great condition, or they're priced at the market. They're going to go first. The other homes are going to sit and take longer until the sellers start reducing their prices. The question is, you've got more and more and more listings coming to the market. Do you want to be reducing prices into an environment where more listings are coming, or do you want to get out now at the top of the market? The top of the market is today. It's not back what it was in March. That was the top of the market back in March. We can't go back to March. We are in June. We don't control what the price of oil. We don't control that the Fed had to raise rates. That the Fed's probably going to have to raise rates a bunch more times to get this inflation under control, and even then they're still not going to get it under control. We're not in control that employers are starting to lay off, that we've got recession either here or possibly coming. We don't control any of that. All we control is what we do in the moment. And if you're a seller and you want to sell now may be the time. Give us a call, 239-310-6500. You can always visit swflhomevalues.com to get your home's value and just track it over time. And even, you may agree with it, you may not agree with it. It's a computer. It may be right, it may not be right. But at least the direction, every month it'll send you, like on the first of the month, hey, check out your home value price. It's changed by this much. You go check it, you can at least watch the direction, even if you don't think it's 100% right. If you want right, call the Ellis team at Keller Williams, 239-310-6500. We've been doing this a long time. Sandy and I are experts in the market, and we've been through market changes. 80% of our realtors have not been through these market shifts. So they've been order takers, and I'm not putting them down. It's that they can't help it. They haven't seen a market shift like this because they weren't in business in a market like this. So the way you market properties, the way you do things is completely different than in an upward scaling market where prices are increases and you just take one of the 10, 15, 20 offers that you've got. So that's a completely different market than what we have right now. If your agent doesn't understand that, the agent that you're interviewing, you need to interview an agent that does understand that. And I think more are going to understand that. We predict we're probably going to lose about 50% of the agents out there. So keep that in mind. You don't want to list with an agent that's here today and gone tomorrow. And that's what happened in the last shift. That could happen again if we have another severe shift like we've got going. So, always call the Ellis team at Keller Williams, even if you just want to talk, even if you want to chat. Sandy and myself, we're available to talk to you and give you your options. Thanks for tuning in to The Future of Real Estate.
If you're selling or you're buying or moving right away, the Ellis team can help you. Call the Ellis team today. 3 decades of experience makes them your very best choice, because they know the market. At closing you rejoice. The Ellis team at Keller Williams is a family affair. Always call the Ellis